One of the most frustrating parts of healthcare is when your insurance company denies coverage. But now a new artificial intelligence program is helping patients battle back in just minutes.
It's called Counterforce Health, which got its start right here in Wilmington. WECT's Delaney Tarpley talked to the man who developed that program. Now, Delaney, what is the tie-in to Wilmington? Why here?
John, Neil Shaw started developing Counterforce in the Research Triangle, but he tells me he wanted to test it here in Wilmington because this area has a higher rate of people being denied insurance coverage. One paramedic I talked with says she sees that happen all the time, and she believes that Shaw's program works. Tabitha Long spends 90% of her work time just dealing with her patients' insurance.
I'm seeing them struggle, I'm watching what they're going through, and I'm telling you what I think is most appropriate for them, and you're telling me they can't have it.
As a paramedic at Wilmington Health's Rheumatology clinic, Long says she handles about 30 insurance claim denials a week. She describes appealing those denials as an exhausting process, but a recent program is changing that.
You can process 15, 20 denials in a matter of a couple hours, where it used to take days to get through all of them.
The program is called Counterforce Health. It uses artificial intelligence to speed up the process of appealing once an insurance company denies coverage. Neil Shaw says he created Counterforce after dealing with denials while his wife battled cancer.
Created a tremendous amount of stress and headache at a time when you should be focused on fighting the disease.
He researched how insurance companies handle denials and made a shocking discovery. Many of them used AI to deny claims.
Medicare Advantage plans are programmatically being denied through an algorithm. This algorithm has a 90% denial rate because they were calculating who's less likely to fight back. Like, there's not even a human even glancing at the thing. It's just like straight up just AI is denying.
Shaw developed the program late last year and started beta testing it at the Rheumatology clinic in February. He chose Wilmington because he says there's a higher percentage of denials here than in bigger cities. After trying it out over the past 5 months, Long says it seems to be working.
In some cases, getting approvals same day after we're sending in the letters.
Shaw said his goal is to empower people to advocate for themselves and their health. Long said the tool is doing exactly that.
So we're more willing to try appealing than we were before. Any clinic can easily implement it. You're not paying anything for it. Why wouldn't you take advantage of a free tool to help advocate for your patients?
Shaw told me 99% of denials never get appealed. But when patients do appeal, they have about a 50% success rate. He said so far, with the letters his AI program is developing, patients and providers are seeing a 70% success rate. And one other thing, John, the Counterforce program is free to use for both patients and providers. Shaw says their mission is funded by grants, and AI overall is not that expensive to use.
I appreciate the update about that program. Delaney, thanks.